Hi, this is Nick Bayard with Lessons for Success and Happiness, and this is part 3 of overcoming tinnitus, which is a conversation that I started at the beginning of this series, and was inspired yesterday after I posted part 2 by a woman who commented on the video and said that it really helped her, and that she'd been experiencing tinnitus or ringing of the ears for 30 years. So I got fired up to do part 3. And seeing as it is Veterans Day and tinnitus disproportionately impacts veterans, I thought it was fitting as well. So I wanted to tell a story of when I first started experiencing tinnitus and the things I tried to do to get help that didn't work. Because I think it might be helpful for folks who are in similar circumstances. And when I started experiencing ringing of the ears, I just woke up one day and it was happening. That was 2008, and I was in the Peace Corps in Paraguay, and went to see the doctor, and he said it's stress related, and it really has to do with the stress associated with your work, which is within the Peace Corps. And so I was sort of within the Peace Corps system, the government system, as a representative of the United States government in Paraguay. And so got to see the best doctors down there, did some head scans, hearing tests, the whole 9 yards. And at the end of it, they said, when you finish your service, you can go back to the United States, and your treatments and everything will be covered by insurance, by the Department of Labor. And so I thought, great, okay. I took my packet, I flew back to the United States, and I quickly learned when I got back that I would need to jump through all kinds of hoops and do all kinds of things to even be considered for coverage for tinnitus. And it was kind of a letdown, but I went to the docs, I did the tests all over again, and I got a number for Department of Labor, and I found myself calling this number almost daily on my lunch break because there didn't seem to be anybody that worked there. And there's only one number and one person who seemed to only be there a couple hours a week. And when I did finally reach her, I think she meant well, but I don't think she really had clear instructions on what to do. And so I spent a couple months trying to go through this process, and it was extremely frustrating. And if anyone has stress-related tinnitus, they know that stress creates more ringing, which creates more stress, which creates more ringing. So this all was really not helpful for me. And after a few months of this, of trying to fill out the right forms and send them in and get them to the right people and see the right docs and check the right boxes, I got this letter back in the mail. I thought, okay, finally, I got the letter back. And I should mention that there was a treatment I was trying to get, and it was the $5,000 at the time neuromonics treatment. One of the reasons I was really needing this, feeling like I needed this support. So I got this letter back from Department of Labor, opened it up. It's one line: "Dear Mr. Bayard, we have declined your request for coverage." And there was a form attached to the back. A doctor had signed it in a totally illegible autograph with no name underneath, no contact information. And it was one of the most frustrating moments of my entire life. I felt like my country had let me down. And it was really a low point for me. But really, after just a few minutes of kind of rereading the letter, I resolved to no longer pin my hopes on anyone else deciding whether or not I would get relief from this condition. And that was a big turning point for me. I sort of reached my limit, and I decided, I've got to take control of this. I've got to put it in my own hands and figure out how to deal with it myself. And that's when things started to really turn around, and the stress started to go down. I started to do more reading on how to be present and mindful and healthy. And really from that point on, I gave up the idea that somebody else could help me, and that was really helpful for me. I think I even ripped up the letter. So anyway, I don't know what it's like to be a veteran, to come home from service and try to pursue benefits. I imagine there are some really frustrating aspects of that too. If there is anyone out there that's struggling with something similar, I would say while some of that is important and useful for something like tinnitus, to the extent you can take it into your own hands, it's going to be ultimately more freeing in the long run and probably have a better impact on your experience than if you were able to go and get some of these treatments. I really think that tinnitus is something that's that we can overcome ourselves by being present, by being happy and healthy, and focusing on ourselves. So I hope this reflection's been helpful. Hope everybody's having a happy Veterans Day, and look forward to continuing the conversation. Thanks for watching.